First, I introduce Ms. Charmin Powell, who is our Chief Risk Officer and Head of our Office of Corporate Strategy and Risk Management, and the Chair of our FinTech Working Group. Charmin, good evening. Very good. Well, great to have you. Then I introduce you to Mrs. Leanne Irish Wade. Leanne is a Senior Bank Examiner in the Bank Supervision Department of the ECCB, and Leanne is a member of our ECCB FinTech Working Group. Leanne, good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, Governor.
Great. And finally, we have Mrs. Janelle Lake. Janelle is an information analyst, a specialist in our Management Information Services Department, that's IT. And Janelle is also a member of our FinTech Working Group. And so there you have it. These are all female panelists tonight. I will tell you, as governor of this bank, that we have some very strong female colleagues. They work hard and they deliver. And so I'm very pleased to have all of these ladies on our panel this evening. So just so that you know, we will in fact have the first segment where we will pose a few questions. I will do that directly to the panel, ask them for their responses. Then we go to the second segment where we will take a poll, and you will have an opportunity to answer 3 questions in our poll. This is always an exciting feature, and it gives you a chance to answer some very specific questions which can help us as we finalize our design and roll out. And then in the third segment, which will be the longest segment, we take your questions. So using the chat box on Zoom and the Facebook page, we're going to take as many questions as we can. But I'm also pleased to let you know that we have a colleague who is also monitoring the chat box. Kichiwa is a member of our FinTech Working Group, a member of the Office of Corporate Strategy and Risk Management, and Kay, as we call her, would also be looking to answer some of your questions as we go. So we're hoping to answer as many as possible, so Kay will also be monitoring the box and trying to help you along. So with that, welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening, and I'd like now to begin to address the panel. So let me start with Charmin. Charmin, tell us, what precisely is the motivation for the ECCB of pursuing this EC Digital Cash project? And in the context of this pandemic, what do you see as some of the opportunities for our region?
As it relates to COVID-19, the digital EC Cash is a welcome alternative to address the heightened health concerns associated with the need for physical and social distancing. And this has been demonstrated in the increased interest in the project since the pandemic started, because persons are now looking for a way to transact, which is safer, so they have less human interaction. And the DXCD project and the DXCD, the EC Cash, provides that to the citizenry.
Right. Thank you, Charmin.
Thank you, Charmin.
So there we heard from her that the project basic value proposition is a safer, faster, cheaper payment instrument for the currency. This is very important. Now, and this evening we want to break this down and really get into how this thing will work, so that anyone who wants to understand and get involved will have a better understanding of and an opportunity to actually participate in this very innovative project. So I want to turn to Leanne now. And Leanne, this initiative is clearly a significant one. Lots of investment of time and money involved. And clearly the governance arrangement for such an enterprise is extremely important. Tell us a bit about some of the governance arrangements around this project, including safeguards such as anti-money laundering and combating financing of terrorism.
Thank you, Governor, for this question. The issues surrounding money laundering and terrorist financing, data protection and data privacy were all areas of significant focus in the governance framework of this pilot. And thankfully, legislative updates were not required for this pilot, given some of the controls that we have put in place. However, should we decide to commercialize thereafter, there may be a need for legislative updates such as digital identity, data protection, and privacy surrounding KYC shared information. So specifically as it relates to anti-money laundering and combating the financing of terrorism, we have ensured that all requirements outlined in the participating territories AML legislation, as well as FATF recommendations, were considered. As financial institutions and agents participating in the pilot will be required to adhere to existing AML CFT legislation in their respective territories. In the last dialogue, we spoke of the many KYC, which is Know Your Customer, and AML CFT utilities that have been incorporated, such as sanction screening capabilities and transaction monitoring triggers to help with transaction monitoring. So all of these form part of the governance framework to mitigate against money laundering and terrorist financing risk. Additionally, although there are certain gaps in the various territories' data protection and privacy legislation, we have sought to preserve customer data by ensuring that there is not a single depository for customer KYC information. So only transactions would be stored on the blockchain, which will be used, and the KYC information will be housed at each of the financial institution or agents responsible for onboarding their own customers. So institutions are the ones who will be able to access their customer information, as is the current practice right now. So example, you open an account with Republic, only Republic Bank will have KYC information on you as a customer. So in the event that, let's say, ECCB or the regulators, the Financial Intelligence Unit wants to conduct an investigation, they would still need to go through the financial institution or the agent again, as is the current process. So in short, Governor, there is no single access point to customer data or shared KYC information among our financial institutions or agents. And this was so designed to minimize the risk with data privacy and data protection, particularly in the absence of legislation around shared KYC information.
Right. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Leanne. So as you can see, a lot of time and effort have been taken to ensure that we give you the best arrangements in terms of protection of your data. And so I feel comforted by that. Now, as we think about the governance and we look at the risk, without a doubt, with this opportunity, there's a risk of cyber security. And so I wanted to turn to Janelle and ask Janelle to speak to us about what we've done and are doing in respect of cybersecurity to protect this digital cash project.
Thanks, Governor. As you rightly mentioned, as we move our currency to a digital environment, the issue of cybersecurity risks takes on a greater level of importance. And as such, we want to ensure that effective cybersecurity practices prevail throughout this pilot. So we made sure to design the DXCD network with security in mind. I assure you we left no stone unturned where security is concerned, but with the little time that I have, I picked the most meaningful stones to speak to today, so to speak. So to begin with, we selected the IBM Hyperledger Fabric, which is a private permissioned distributed ledger network. This ensures that each and every participant must be authenticated and authorized to participate on the DXCD network. There will be no unknown or anonymous participants. And I know that this is a recap for some because in the first digital dialogue, this would have been mentioned. So I just want to add that this verification of users coupled with robust auditing and logging functionality helps to reduce the risk associated with unknown bad actors committing fraudulent activity on the network, because the blockchain would maintain a record of all transactions and all transacting parties.
as Leanne would have mentioned. While I said this though, I want to reiterate some of what Leanne mentioned because I'm mindful of the need to quickly assure users that in our DXCD solution, we will guarantee the privacy of all data. Only the user's financial institution has access to their personal data, and it is sent exclusively via encrypted channel, stored and encrypted once more in a secure facility that complies with general data protection regulation and other international data privacy standards. Likewise, transactional data are only available to your financial institution and transacting parties, and this is accessed by way of relevant historical records stored on the blockchain, which you would access via your digital wallet on your smart devices. As Leanne also mentioned, data would only be divulged if there's a legal requirement to do so. So participants are able to take comfort in the fact that their privacy is maintained with the use of digital EC dollars. Other secure design considerations that we embedded include the use of hardened physical elements, and these help to reduce the risks associated with hardware vulnerabilities, and the use of an application framework that is designed to mitigate against common web application vulnerabilities. This application framework is subject to a quality assurance process that includes rigorous in-house as well as independent third-party security testing. Other security measures that feature prominently throughout the network include the use of secure application programming interfaces or APIs to set out how the various DXCD components should interact with one another. It is through these APIs that all participant, financial institution, and merchant transactions are conducted. And these APIs too are reviewed to ensure they follow relevant security standards. We also make sure that end-to-end encryption is in place to secure data as it moves throughout the network. So I want us to now take a look at those security features that are in place at the end user level. In addition to the network security features that I mentioned just prior, we've also ensured that each user interacting with a digital wallet on his or her smart device benefits from app-level security, and this includes a wallet account creation process that observes best practice where password complexity checks are concerned, and this is to ensure safety from hackers. It also includes an account registration process that ensures the successful transmission and storage of user credentials according to industry best practice. In addition to usernames and passwords, biometric technology could also be utilized to ensure to secure wallets where the device permits, of course. And these mechanisms all work together to ensure the protection and the security of our digital EC funds and our network. Thanks, Gov.
Right, so thank you, Janelle. So you can see that there's been a significant effort and attention to this issue of security, cybersecurity, data privacy. And that's why when we say it's the safest, fastest, and of course, cheapest way to do business, we give that based on the work that we put in and the protocols, some of which Janelle has just shared. So that was the background. I now want to get to some practical aspects of this digital cash project. So Charmin, assume I know nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing about this digital cash project. I'm hearing about it for the first time tonight. And I want to understand how this works and how this will help me. Talk to me about that right now.
Okay, thank you, Governor. And we're going to go through the process, as you say, as a layperson, somebody who knows nothing about DXCD and wants to understand how do I be a part of this groundbreaking project. So we have, first to say, we have two forms of wallets that you can use. So the first step, you will be downloading the DXCD app from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. So you need the DXCD app to be able to be part of this. So persons who have Apple devices, go to the Apple Play Store, or persons who have Android devices, go to the Google Play Store and download the DXCD consumer app. Now you can have a register-based wallet or a value-based wallet. So persons whose financial institution is part of the pilot, they would register or onboard through their financial institution. So once they've downloaded the application, the app on their smart device, whether their smartphone or their tablet, then they would onboard through their financial institution. So their financial institution would provide them with a code, and they would use that code to set up the wallet on their device. if you do not have an account at a participating financial institution, or if your financial institution is not participating in the pilot, or you don't have an account at all at any financial institution, then you can have what is called a value-based wallet. And that is done through one of our agents that we have in the 4 participating countries. And it's a similar onboarding process. Now, once you've onboarded, you have your wallet on your smart device, you can now begin to use the app. So how do you get money in your wallet? For the registered based customers, that those who have onboarded through their financial institution, they can transfer funds from their account at that institution to their wallet. So they send a message to their financial institution, whether through internet banking or mobile banking, and indicate they want funds from their savings account, their checking account, whatever account they have there, transferred to their wallet. And the commercial bank would do that transfer on their behalf. And they would see when they log into their wallet on their smart device, they would see that their balance is now increased by the amount that's been transferred. For the value-based customers, because they don't have an account to transfer from, they can take physical cash to either an agent or a merchant that is doing cash in and cash out services. They take their physical cash and they convert that cash to DXCD. So the merchant or the agent will then take their physical cash and then transfer the equivalent from to their wallet on their smart device. And it is that simple, Governor. It is basically, once you've gone to the App Store, and all of us go to the App Store regularly to download various applications. It's the same process. Once you've done that and you've onboarded to the FI or to an agent, then you can just convert your physical cash, whether it's from an account balance or actual cash that you take in, and then that will be done. You get the funds onto your account. Now, some persons may ask, having put the DXCD on my wallet, suppose I need cash back. I want to get physical cash because I need to do a transaction, and the merchant where I want to transact does not take DXCD. So it's the reverse. So the individual who has the account at the financial institution, who onboarded to that financial institution, can now send a message and say, okay, can you take $50, for example, from my wallet and put it into my account? And then they're able to have that transaction done and the funds go back into their account. Or they can go to a merchant or an agent that does cash in and cash out services and just exchange their DXCD for physical cash. So they will transfer funds from their wallet to the merchant's wallet or the agent's wallet, and they will get physical cash in return. So it's very simple, Governor. Once the initial process is done, it's very simple in transacting. In terms of making payments, you can go to a merchant that is participating in the pilot. You get your goods. When you go to the cashier, they give you the amount. You use your smart device. You scan the QR code on their device, and the funds are transferred for the value of your transaction. So it's very simple, Governor.
Right. Thank you, Charmin. Thank you. So you're beginning to understand, okay? You're getting it. And I just want to recap. You have to download the App Store or Google Play. You then have to use one of 2 wallets. And this is important because no one must be left behind. This product ensures that if you do not have a bank account or you do not wish to transact with a financial institution, you do not need to do that. That's the value-based wallet. The other one is using your existing financial institution if they are pilot partner. So this wallet idea is like how you put your money, wallet, digital wallet, physical wallet, because remember, the idea is physical cash, digital cash. And Charmin also explained to you how you can move back and forth between digital and physical, cash in and cash out. And of course, as we go on this evening, we'll be able to come back on these and keep explaining them as you have need of. So I hope that helps you in terms of a practical step. And then as she indicated at the end, once you have it loaded in your wallet, it's 1, 2, 3. You scan, you pay, you get a confirmation. It's that simple. So let me just ask you, Charmin, before we move to someone else, what is the plan with this digital and physical cash? Is it that the ECCB is planning to eliminate digital physical cash completely? What is the conversion rate between digital and physical? Can you speak to that?
Yes, Governor, I can. So in terms of the conversion rate, it's equal. It's 1-to-1. It's a 1-to-1 relationship. So the same value you have in your physical cash, you have in digital cash. There's no loss of value. There's no increase of value. So if you have $10 EC physical cash and you want to convert it, you get $10 in digital cash. So it's a one-to-one conversion. And in terms of when you're converting from physical to digital, the only restriction you will have is your wallet limit, because we do have limits on the wallets. For the registered based wallets, your limits are determined by your risk profile as determined by your financial institution. So you will be having been a customer, they'll have a risk profile for you. And we have some set limits for the purpose of the pilot for the wallets. We have three tiers now, and the banks, the financial institutions would place customers in those tiers based on the risk profile. And for the value-based wallets, because the risk is higher there, we have two tiers. We have a tier 0 of $1,000 and a tier 1, which is $2,700. So the only restriction as it relates to physical and digital is your wallet limit, but the conversion is one-to-one. In relation to the elimination of cash, Governor, it's never our intention to eliminate cash. The ECCB has a projection of reducing the use of cash by 50% by 2025. So in terms of persons being fearful that we want to get rid of cash, we want to underscore at this point, and we've done it through our various consultations and interaction with the public, that we do not want to eliminate cash. What we're doing is provide an alternative measure, which is faster, safer, and cheaper to the use of cash. But cash will always be there, and so cash will always be available for transactions. We just want to reduce the use of cash because of the security reason, the cost factors, and the greater efficiency, but it will always be there. And there's always be that one-to-one conversion between physical and digital cash.
Right. Thanks for that. Good. So let me ask Leanne to help us understand. Can we do foreign transactions with this digital cash, EC dollar? Can we buy stuff in foreign currencies? And does this help us in any way with this issue of correspondent banking relations? Can you speak to that?
Very nice question, Governor. But unfortunately, users will not be able to transact with different currencies or purchase items from foreign states in this pilot project. The pilot is limited to EC currency only, and also only to participating financial institutions, agents, and participants in our 4 pilot countries. So that is namely Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia. So transacting with different currencies could probably be a future pilot project when other regional central banks consider a digital version of their currencies. And only then we may have the opportunity to also test cross-border transactions. But until such time, the DXCD will be limited to the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. Notwithstanding, though, participants will be able to send funds to other persons in the 4 participating territories via peer-to-peer transfers at no additional fees. For instance, I am able to be in St. Kitts and transfer money to a friend in St. Lucia via the DXCD app. The transaction will be easy in that it won't require any intermediary institution or person. It will be fast. That means it will be almost instantaneous. And it will also be cheap in that you would not have any associated fees. So additionally, the pilot currently will not address the challenges with correspondent banking relationships in the region. It is important to note that the issues of correspondent bank are a lot broader than just AML, CFT utilities that most persons associated with. There are also issues dealing with the profitability of the relationships for the correspondent banks as well as the financial institution. So with that said, the scope of our current DXCD pilot will not address correspondent banking issues, but conversely, the pilot will not jeopardize our correspondent banking relationships either, given the strong governance framework that we discussed earlier that have been established, including our AML CFT utilities that have been incorporated.
Right. Thank you for that. So let me ask Janelle. Janelle, suppose I lose my digital wallet. What happens?
This is one of those use cases that helps us to truly describe how digital EC dollars offers security that physical EC dollars cannot. and I am so excited that I get to explain it today. Ladies and gentlemen, your digital wallets can be recovered if lost, unlike physical wallets, potentially. First off, all digital EC dollars are stored on the blockchain. They're not actually stored on your smart devices. You only use the digital wallets on your smart devices to access your funds on the blockchain. This is really useful because it means that recovery of funds, or to put it more accurately, gaining access to existing funds is not only possible, but easy. So if you were to lose your smart device, as you asked, Gov, you would simply follow some intuitive steps using the app to recover your digital wallet. You would first have to download the app from the relevant app store to your new device. Then using the recovery functionality in the menu options, you would then proceed to follow the on-screen prompts until the recovery process is complete and access to your digital EC dollars has been completed. Along the way, you would be asked to enter account information that was created at the point of initial enrollment. This includes typical stuff, your username and password and responses to security questions, as well as other information such as recovery codes. All of this information that you will be prompted for would have been made available to you at the point of initial wallet creation. So we encourage users when setting up wallets to safely record this information that it is readily available if and when needed. I suggest that a password manager or some other secure facility be used for storage purposes in the event that these details cannot be committed to memory. A similar process follows for wallet password resets, and this process is not unlike typical password reset functionality within apps. You would simply need to access the Forgot Password menu option in the app and follow the on-screen prompts to reset your password. Just as before, you'd be asked to provide information such as responses to security questions that were set up during the initial wallet process, the initial wallet setup process, that is. But while I'm on the topic of passwords and wallet recovery, it would be remiss of me not to appeal to you, our users, to observe good cyber practices to ensure the safety of your digital wallets. Everyone has a role to play where security is concerned. We at ECCB, we've ensured that robust security measures are in place to protect the DXCD network for the benefit of all participants. And likewise, you too have a responsibility to protect yourselves. While the ECCB guarantees all funds on the DXCD network against losses due to infrastructure failure for the duration of the pilot, the ECCB will not be responsible for the loss of DXCD that results from negligence. Thanks, Gov.
Right, thank you. So what I heard from you there is cyber hygiene. It sounds like hand hygiene, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands in this pandemic.
It's the very same thing.
Yeah, we have to practice cyber hygiene in this period. And perhaps later on, or maybe even another program, I'm sure you can speak more about that, including password manager. Because one of the issues these days is that people say, well, I have so many passwords to remember. You know, how do I do that practically? And there are easy ways or ways that you can organize yourself so that you don't have to rely solely on memory. And I suppose we can speak about that later on if necessary. Great.
Yes, of course.
So I think we've had a good first half an hour where we've sort of set the table for some of the basic questions that perhaps you have or did ask us on the last occasion. And so I want to thank the panel for their answers. I'm going to come back to them a little later on with more questions, including the timing, the next steps. So Charmin, I'll come back to you on that. But well, in fact, let me ask you now, before we go to the next segment, speak to us briefly, Charmin, about what is the timeline. I know some institutions have asked us at ECCB to give them some more time to prepare because they're dealing with the pandemic. And of course, resources are somewhat stretched. So we've pushed it back a bit, and we're working with our pilot partners. But give us, if you will, a sort of time frame of where we are and what it is that we're doing right now.
Okay, thank you, Governor. In terms of where we are, and as you rightly said, we've had some setbacks due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I think we're not alone in this. It's an issue that has affected us all. And so where we are currently, we are finalizing the applications. So that is the financial institutions applications, the merchant applications, the agent application, and the customer applications. We're finalizing those applications, and that process includes testing. So we're testing the applications because we want to ensure that when they actually roll it out to the public, it works. So we're working all the kinks, We are getting the financial institutions, the merchants, some end users using some small focus groups to test these applications. And so when we get to the point where we're comfortable that we've addressed all the major issues, then we're ready for a full-scale rollout. So it'll be another few weeks before we can say we go to the public and say we're ready. I know the public has been anxiously awaiting the actual pilots to begin, and we're getting more and more inquiries about how can I be a part of the pilot? What can I do? How do I join? And so we want to make sure that users have a good experience, because we recognize if it starts out and you have a bad experience, it may make persons less likely to continue with the pilot. So right now, our focus is on basically perfecting, as it were, the applications for the various stakeholders in the project.
Right, thanks, Charmin. So what I heard from you that we ourselves have also taken a bit more time to make sure that we give you the best experience, user experience.
Yes, we have, Governor.
With the testing phase. Yes. And of course, our partners who themselves have to test and be comfortable with the app. So we're getting closer and closer to launch. And of course, we will keep you apprised of that. Great. So thank you, ladies, for your great answers to this first segment. And what we want to do now is move to our poll. So the poll is where you, the viewers, the participants, get a chance to express yourselves via your answers to some questions. So I now want to invite my colleague, Lyndon, who is working on the questions. Lyndon Jackasol is our colleague doing that this evening. So Lyndon, good night, and over to you to load the questions. So, as you can see on screen, it's very easy. You go to www.menti.com, www.menti.com, and then you will see a code. You have to put in a code, and the code is 207497. Those of you who've done this before, you know how this works. But if you're new and doing it for the first time, so you go into using your phone, your device, your tablet, and you simply put in www.menti.com. Once you do that, you'll be asked for a code. The code is 207497. Once you put in the code, the questions will begin to appear. The first question will appear. All right? So do that now first, please, everyone. Menti.com, www.menti.com. Once you put that in, you need a code. The code is 207497. And then you will see the first question. So we can go to the first question. There you have it. The first question is on. In the last month, approximately what percentage of your purchases have been paid for using an electronic form of payment? So when we say electronic, we mean not cash, not checks. What percentage of your purchases have been paid using electronic means in the last month? Okay, I see you getting into it. So if you're just joining us this evening, good evening and welcome to ECCB Digital Dialogues. We are in the second segment of the dialogue where you get to answer 3 questions. And the easy way to do it, www.menti.com, and you put in the code 207497. And so we have, 96 persons have already voted. And as you can see on screen, because this is real time, you see the results as you put it in. Over more than half of you have said that you have used more than 75% of your purchases have been electronic in the last month. More than 75% of your payments have been electronic in the last month. So that's a very good sign. That's a very good sign because remember what we want to do. We want to use less cash, less checks, more electronic because it's faster, it's cheaper, and with what we're proposing, it's also safer. So that's a great feedback, and it's good to see that. That's an encouraging sign for us as we think about how this region is going to come out of this pandemic stronger, more competitive, more resilient. That's a good sign. So thank you very much for your responses on that. And I think we can move now to question 2. So Lyndon, let's start question 2. And there you have it. Which form of cash, digital or physical, do you think is better positioned to combat money laundering and terrorist financing? Which form of cash, digital or physical, do you think is better positioned to combat money laundering and terrorist financing? And you have 2 options, digital or physical. And again, I repeat, just for the benefit of those who have just joined and you're wondering what is going on, this is ECCB Digital Dialogues. We are in the segment where you get to answer some questions. If you want to be part of this, you can put it into your device, www.menti.com. Once you type that in, you will be asked for a code. The code is 207497. And the questions will appear. So we're on to our second question. And forgive me for those of you, if I'm repeating, but it's just for the benefit of people who are just joining us as we at this moment. So the second question so far, and you can see the overwhelming majority of persons have said that digital cash is actually a better option for fighting money laundering and terrorist financing. And I have to tell you, you are absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. Everybody is welcome to their opinion here, but the reality is that digital cash provides far more protections to fight money laundering and terrorist financing. So for those who are concerned about that, this actually strengthens our hand in the fight against money laundering. Okay? So thank you for that question, for that answer, those answers. And I think we'll move to our third question. Question number 3 then. Question number 3. Right. What size of payments are you most likely to make with your digital EC cash? What size of payments are you most likely to make with your digital EC cash? This is a very interesting question for us. We want to understand your needs, your preferences, because that will help us as well as we think about any final design. For example, we have thresholds that we've put as Charmin was explaining. We need to make sure the thresholds are not too low, and of course, they can't be too high. So this helps us, gives us an insight in terms of what you will want to do, what sort of size of payments you would like to make with your digital EC cash. So this is a very helpful question for us. Thank you for your feedback on this. I'll give you a few more seconds to come in on this. This is really, really good feedback. At the central bank, we say it all the time, feedback is a gift. And this is a gift for us because this really gives us an insight into how you are likely to use the digital EC cash. And it just allows us to show that we create the best experience for you to be able to do what you want to do with your digital EC dollars. Very good. Very good. Final 30 seconds on this one. I'm giving a little more time because this is very helpful. This particular question is really, really insightful for us. So I want to give as many people as possible an opportunity to actually express themselves on this question. Okay, well, I think we have had a good feedback on this, so that's great. Thank you very much. We're going to study this and make sure that the thresholds that we are proposing are fit for purpose and will be of value to you based on what you've just told us. So this is good feedback. Thank you very much, everyone, for your participation in this exciting segment of what we call our Mentimeter questions or poll. So great. With that, welcome back to our panelists. I trust you also enjoyed looking at the poll. And now we want to go to our third segment. And this is where we are taking questions directly from participants, both in the Q&A box as well as the Facebook page. So now let's go to the Q&A, please. First question. How long will the process take to transfer money from the commercial bank or credit union to my wallet?
So, Governor, I'll take that one. In terms of persons getting transfers from their account, that will depend on the service level agreement with your commercial bank. We are negotiating with the commercial banks and the credit unions at this point in time to come up with a reasonable time frame within which the transfers can be done. So it does not dissuade persons from using DXCD. So we are currently in negotiations with the FIs to come up with as short a time frame as possible between when the messages are sent and when the transactions are actually done. So by the time we are ready for launch, we will be better able to advise the public as to what the time frames are that they can look forward to for these transfers to be done.
Right. So we'll give you a final answer on that. But one thing we know is it's going to be faster than waiting to clear a check, which is 3 days.
Yes, much faster, much faster. It will be within the day. It will definitely be within the day, within hours, actually.
This is going to be a very important thing for us. What we want them to do is to commit to a specified period.
Yes.
Within X minutes or whatever.
Yes.
That is very, very important because it is going to be faster than anything that's available right now.
So basically, the Governor, what they'll be doing is setting up channels within the institution as to how they handle who monitors the requests, who monitors the queues, and making sure that the responses are done in a timely manner. Right.
Okay, I'm going to take a question. I saw a question. The fourth question is on, I'll come back to the third. There's a question on data charges. Just go scroll from, yes. Will there be data charge with my mobile service provider, or do I need to have minutes on my mobile device to execute transactions?
So I'll take that one, Governor.
Right,
I'll
Janelle,
take that one. I am pleased to report that our internet service providers have graciously agreed to zero rate all transactions associated with DXCD for the life of the pilot. So no, you do not need to have a data plan on your phone to transact.
Great answer. And it's the answer that we've asked for. And we want to recognize our telecoms providers for agreeing to partner with us in this way. And by the way, they have really been working very hard to support us in this pandemic. When everybody is on and using broadband to do everything from worship to work to school to payments and everything else, we take these things for granted. But our telecoms providers have worked really hard to make sure that they provide the bandwidth that we need to be able to live and to function effectively in this period of the pandemic. And this is another example of the telecoms working with us, the providers, to ensure that you have a great experience when you actually do this, when you use the digital EC dollar. So great, thanks for that. Question 3, explain the process of transferring cash from one holder of digital cash to another. Is it possible to transfer digital cash to a non-digital cash account? Who wants to take that question?
I'll take that one, Governor. So in terms of the transferring from one digital account, digital wallet, to another. So if you're in the same physical space as the individual, so you're both in the same physical space, it's as easy as using your smart device and scanning the QR code on their smart device and transferring the funds. So you enter them what you want to transfer and you scan and transfer. However, if you're in you're in different locations, once you have the person's unique identifier, which will be given at the start of the project when they on board, then you enter the unique identifier, enter the amount you want to transfer, and you send the funds to them. So it's very simple. It's very easy to do. It's a matter of just entering the amount and sending once you know exactly who you're sending the funds to. You will not be able to send digital funds from a person who does not have a wallet on their smart device. So it has to be, the person has to be part of the pilot project and they have a wallet on their device, whether it's a register-based wallet or a value-based wallet, to be able to send digital funds to them.
Right, thanks. And then there's a final piece to the question. Is it possible to transfer digital cash to a non-digital cash account?
But if you're going to transfer, no, it's a conversion. So for example, as I said earlier, if you want to convert your digital cash back to physical cash, you can transfer, it will be converted to physical cash and goes back to your account. Or you can go and get your digital cash to a merchant or an agent and exchange it for physical cash. So in that sense, you can convert from digital to physical, but you cannot send from a wallet to a person.
So let me just ask a follow-up, Charmin.
Yes.
So I can do that with my accounts. I can take digital dollars from my wallet, digital wallet, and transfer it back into my bank or credit union account.
Yes, you can.
Right, but can I do that for somebody else? In other words, can I take digital dollars and send to somebody else who has an account in a credit union or a bank?
So if the person the transfers from your digital wallet. So if the person's account is a participating FI, you instruct your bank to take funds from your digital wallet to that person's account once it's at the participating FI.
I see.
So your instructions will be to the bank.
Right. So it's possible if the person is
a participating FI.
The pilot partner.
Yes.
Right. Thanks for that. Good. So let's keep looking at the questions. Could we roll the questions and let's see what else we can deal with. Are transfers subject to fees and VAT? Are transfers subject to fees and VAT?
I'll take that one, Governor. There will be no fees and no VAT associated with our transactions. And I think that keeps our theme of saying it is cheaper than any other forms of payment because it will not attract any associated fee at all.
Right, thanks for that. And that's great news for persons who are considering using digital EC cash. Very good. Let's move. I'll take a few more questions. Could we roll the, yes? What, let's see. What regulatory role will individual jurisdictions play in the eventual rollout of the the payments platform? What regulatory role will individual jurisdictions play in the rollout of the ECCB payments platform?
Well, as I indicated earlier, Governor, that the legislation, the financial institutions, the agents and participants will adhere to all of the AML CFT regulations within their participating jurisdiction. So all of the regulatory role that currently exists will still remain, such as a reporting of suspicious transactions to your FIU, your Financial Intelligence Unit. That will still be part of the pilot project. For all the institutions that the local regulators, they actually supervise. And if they form part of the project, they will be supervised by their local regulators as well. So nothing will change in terms of regulation, in terms of our pilot project. So that will remain as is.
Right, great. And you would expect the ECCB to look after the regulatory arrangements. And
For sure.
Absolutely. Good. Let's take another question. How can third-party businesses benefit or integrate into their systems, whether it's point of sale, e-commerce stores, etc.? Is there a possibility for third-party businesses to get involved?
I'll take that one. At the moment, yes, third parties and merchants could get involved, but at the moment in the pilot, there's currently no integration with existing e-commerce platforms. You would be issued with a merchant wallet and you'd transact in your DXCD using that merchant wallet. And you'd have to account for the various transactions in your books outside of that.
Right. Thank you, Janelle. I think because it's a pilot, we've taken that position at this stage. If the pilot is successful, we certainly will make the opportunity available for the integration with third-party providers. That is definitely something that we can foresee. Once the pilot goes well, it's tested and it's serving the purpose intended, then certainly we can onboard or make available to integrate with third-party providers. So it's an interesting question because I think there are digital entrepreneurs who are looking for opportunities. And we believe that there may very well be opportunities as we move forward once we have rolled out the pilot. Now remember, the pilot is 6 months. So the idea is to roll it out live, 6 months. It's actually the real experience and then be able to distill from that and look at what the next steps would be post the pilot phase. So it's a great question and it's one that we are already thinking about.
Governor, if I may add as well, we intend during the 6-month pilot as well to look and see ways of testing ways where we can integrate, because we recognize that at the end of the pilot, as I say, we will think about a commercial deployment. However, we would need to know even during the pilot, as we go through the process, what are the possibilities? So there will be avenues within the pilot. As the pilot progresses, we will be testing, for example, we might testing with FI's integration FI system, API. So different avenues we made available during the pilot for testing in preparation for an eventual commercial deployment.
Right. But also to say that, I mean, I think we at this stage, we're doing all of the backroom work in terms of all of the...
Yes, we are.
Right.
We can partner with first, yes, we can just to have that,
so we're not
testing to make sure it's
putting that burden on the financial
Precisely, we are the ones who are taking on that responsibility.
We are taking that responsibility right now. So they, make it easy for them to be able to get involved. And then as we go forward, we can look at integration of systems as necessary. Okay, thanks for that, ladies. Let's take some more questions, please. So we go back to the screen and let's see what else we have. How long will transactions transferring DXC take to be received, whether it be physical cash or peer-to-peer transfer? So if, Charmin, if you send money to me, or I send money to you from our digital wallets, how long will that take to go through?
Governor, is near instantaneous. The only factor that we'll have to take into consideration is the speed of the network. As we know, sometimes the network lags, and because it's reliant on a Wi-Fi connection or data connection, there may be a small lag, but the intention is for it to be near instantaneous.
Right. So the answer is in seconds?
Yes.
Near instantaneous?
Yes.
And the speed depends on the speed of your internet, but ultimately, the idea is to have it done in real time. So
yes.
You see your confirmation, you see it in front as you do it almost immediately, you will see the transaction.
Because you will actually get an instant message, a payment sent.
You will get a, right.
Message saying
payment
yes.
sent.
Yes.
Right. And of course, if it's you receiving, you will see.
Yes, and then you will see your wallet balance decrease for the sender, and for the receiver, their wallet balance increasing.
Will increase, right,
yeah.
right. Very good. Thanks for that. Let's take another question, please. What is considered negligence if the digital wallet is lost? What is considered negligence if the digital wallet is lost?
That's an excellent question.
You want to say something like that?
I'll definitely take that one. And I just want to go back to my response to one of your earlier questions, Gov, where I mentioned that in the setup of the wallet, you will be issued some information. You would set up information to secure your wallet, usernames, passwords. You'd be issued with recovery codes that you would need in order to recover a wallet if it becomes lost. Sorry, if your device becomes lost, rather. So negligence in our minds constitutes you forgetting these, not being able to provide this information in order to recover a wallet. We would not be able to refund those funds because, as far as we are concerned, the necessary measures were not put in place to safeguard this information, to safeguard your wallet. It's essentially lost access to a wallet.
Okay, all right. Right, thank you for that response, Janelle. Do we have any more questions at this stage? Facebook, do we have any questions from Facebook? Okay, so we're looking to see what questions we have from Facebook to see if we can take. We are looking for the Facebook questions. We can just perhaps ask, Charmin, just tell us again, which are the pilot countries at this stage? And also, perhaps you can say a little bit about some of the pilot partners that we're working with.
Thank you, Governor. So we have 4 pilot countries participating. We have Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia. Those are the 4 countries. And within those countries, we have, in St. Kitts, we have the St. Kitts, Nevis, and Angola National Bank, the St. Kitts Cooperative Credit Union, and the Nevis Cooperative Credit Union as the financial institutions that are participating. In Antigua and Barbuda, we have Eastern Caribbean Amalgamated Bank, and we have First Caribbean International in Antigua. And we also have the St. John's Cooperative Credit Union as the agent in Antigua and Barbuda. In St. Kitts, we have CDC Financial Services and JAD Cash are the 2 agents operating in St. Kitts. St. Kitts and Nevis, sorry. In Grenada, we have Republic Bank Grenada Limited, and we have Grenada Cooperative Bank as the FIs, and we have Ariza Credit Union, and we have 2 other credit unions out of Grenada as well.
Ariza, Communal?
Yes, Communal, the other name.
And Teachers.
Thank you, that's Governor. And then
right.
in St. Lucia, we have Bank of St. Lucia, we have First National St. Lucia. We have, I think it's now Janelle Credit Union. I think that's a new name for it. There's a new Janelle, I think is a new name for the credit union.
Yes.
And St. Lucia Civil Service Credit Union. So we have quite a number. We have on board to start the pilot 15 FIs. In terms of the merchants.
Right, so just to be clear, when Charmin says FIs, she means financial institutions.
Sorry, I forgot the jargon.
Central bank speak. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead.
In terms of the participating merchants, we are actually in the process of doing the onboarding process for the merchants. So that information will be made as we go forward towards launch. End users can be sure that we'll have an entire listing of all the merchants where DXCD will be accepted.
Right. So we'll give you more on that as we go along. Great. Thanks, Charmin. Let's go back to Facebook. We have a couple questions there. What is the KYC process for persons who do not have accounts with commercial banks?
Okay, I'll take that.
Leanne?
Yes, no problem. For persons who do not have accounts with commercial bank, they will be utilizing the value-based wallets. And how, after they access the app, they will be required to put in some basic KYC information, your name, your address, and you would also be required to upload an ID. And the software allows you to also take a selfie because it wants to ensure that there's a live footage of the person and the ID that was provided matches, that you do not take a picture of your face. So it's going to be a live portrait. You would have to take a selfie as well as to upload your ID. When that is done, you also select a participating agent or a merchant who is acting as an agent, and you would send that information to them. When they receive that information, you can transact at a zero level, which means that your limit will be only $1,000 per month. And why we do that? Because we know the risk for money laundering at that level is high. We have limited the wallets to only $1,000 per month. So if you want a higher limit as a value-based wallet to the 2,700, which is the tier 1, you would require to actually go into that agency to actually provide some additional information and actually provide your physical ID then. And then you will get to go to tier 1, which is the 2,700 limit. And that would be the max limit that we have for a value-based wallet, and then in keeping of the controls to safeguard against money laundering risk.
Right, thank you for that, Leanne. Another question, how likely would a fraudulent transaction take place? For example, hacking or diverting of funds. So the person is asking about potential for fraud.
Yes, so
Janelle?
Thanks, Governor. So based on the measures that we have in place, hacking is very unlikely. I won't say it's impossible, but it's definitely very unlikely. But in terms of fraud, if your credentials to your digital wallet become compromised, then fraudulent transactions become very likely. So this is why we make the point to remind you to secure your credentials, because these are essentially, this is access to your money.
Right, thank you. Another question, can the digital wallet be funded from the bank account of a foreign bank in the US, UK, or Canada?
Because of the fact, Governor, that we have participated in FI. So any FI that's going to fund your digital wallet has to be participating in the pilot. So to that extent, a foreign bank cannot fund it. You can't fund your wallet from a foreign bank. The bank has to be one of our participating FIs or financial institutions in the pilot.
Right, so thank you, Charmin. The answer is no. You'll have to send that money to a domestic bank. And then once it's in the domestic bank, then of course the person can take it from there and put it on the digital wallet if they so choose. Right. Another question from Facebook. What is the custody solution for securing the wallet? Is it a centralized wallet or a decentralized wallet? Janelle?
Yes, so I did make note of a response to that one. So each wallet is separate and independent and used to access a centralized transaction ledger.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's take another question from Facebook. Would merchants be able to access payments remotely via the app? Would merchants be able to accept payments remotely via the app?
So thanks, Governor, for that question. So to the extent that the person who is paying the merchant has the merchant's unique identifier, they can in fact send money to the merchant. So it doesn't matter, you want to be in the same physical space. All you would need is the merchant's unique identifier, and you can transfer funds from your wallet to the merchant's wallet, irrespective of where they are.
Right. Thanks for that, Charmaine. Next question. What are the costs or fees to merchants accepting payments? And before we answer that, perhaps you could also explain what are merchants and what are agents, just to make sure people are understanding the terms that we're using. Right? And then you can answer the question that has just been asked.
Thanks, Governor. So a merchant is like a vendor, anybody who is providing services. So in St. Kitts, it's your RAMs, your Value Mart, your TDCs. Those are the merchant persons who provide goods and services to the public. Those are your merchants. The agents are those financial institutions who are responsible for onboarding value-based customers. So they are financial institutions, and they are the ones who are going to provide the service of a value-based wallet. So they're going to onboard the customers. So they provide the approval for the value-based wallet customers, and some of the agents as well will provide a cash-in, cash-out function. And when we say cash-in, cash-out, we mean you go in, take your physical cash and get digital cash, or vice versa. You convert your digital cash back to physical cash. That's the difference between a merchant and a vendor, and an agent, sorry. Of course, there are some merchants as well who will also offer cash-in, cash-out services. So there are some merchants you can actually go to and take your digital cash and get physical cash, or vice versa. Similar to right now, some merchants offer cash checking services. You can cash your checks at a merchant. So some merchants will offer that service for the pilot. That's the difference between a merchant and an agent.
Right, thanks for that. That's
so
very
in terms
important.
of the question, Governor,
payment, yes.
The cost.
Payment
so for the purpose,
fees.
for in terms of for the pilot project, there's no cost to the merchants for accepting DXCD. There will be no cost to the merchants for accepting DXCD for the person, for the pilot.
Right. Thanks for that. Next question: will the role of traditional banking or financial system decline with the introduction of digital currency or digital cash? Who wants to take that one?
It's an interesting question, but I think I would say it will not. And from the part that I think it would enhance traditional banking, and also the fact that our wallets will not be used as a savings account. So a lot of persons have the fear that, it will compete with the savings accounts of the banks, but it will not, because it is supposed to be mainly for transactions. It will not, your wallet will not carry any interest rate. So again, it will be to the detriment of the customer, or to hold excess monies in their wallet if they're not going to be transacting with it, because they would not be getting any interest on it. So it will not be competing with the deposits, and it will seek to enhance our payment system in the ECCU.
Right, absolutely. And just to add, that the banking system and our financial system really increasingly its biggest contribution is extending credit and financial advice to customers. So it does payments, that's an important role, but it does a lot more than that. This is a payment instrument, as you said. It's non-interest bearing, so there will be no point in keeping large sums in your digital wallet because you're not going to earn interest. You move the money in, you pay, you do your transactions, and you keep going. It's a complement to the financial system, as we see it. Next question: can my digital funds become dormant due to a lack of inactivity? Okay.
Very interesting question, Governor. So no, for 6 months, it's a 6-month pilot, and your funds cannot become, your wallet is not dormant. And we want to encourage you to use it as much as possible for the pilot. What we will say though, at the end of the 6-month pilot, all digital funds will be converted back to physical cash. So if you have a register-based account, your funds in your wallet will transfer back to your account at the financial institution, and value-based, it will be converted to physical cash. So we will redeem all digital cash at the end of the 6-month pilot. But to answer the question, no, it will not become dormant.
Right, no dormant accounts, or as we call it, abandoned bank property, as is styled under the regulations. Very good. The next question: if someone steals your device through a SIM swap, what is the risk of losing your digital funds in this situation? If someone steals your device through a SIM swap, what is the risk of losing your digital funds in this situation?
Right, so I'll take that one. So even if your device is stolen via SIM swap, they would also have to have access to your credentials in order to gain access to your digital wallet. So this is why we go back to securing your wallet credentials, because a SIM swap wouldn't necessarily just open up your digital wallet. You'd have to enter those and authenticate into the digital wallet every time you use it.
Right. And then, and also, as you said earlier, Janelle, your money is not really stored on your wallet or your device. It is stored on the blockchain. The device is simply the instrument through which you move the funds around. So a theft of the wallet doesn't mean that your money is gone. If you had $100 let's say you had $1,000 in the wallet and your phone is stolen, that doesn't mean that your $1,000 is gone because it's not stored on your phone. Your phone is merely the tool to access your funds, which are actually stored via the blockchain. But thanks
Absolutely.
for those questions. Very good. Thanks for the answers as well. Is there an age qualification someone is asking? Do you have to have an age to be able to participate in this?
There is no age qualification, Governor, but we would expect that persons, similar with the banks, so the banks will determine how a person can get an account. So we figure that for younger persons, the persons who are not working, probably would be the value-based wallet will be more applicable to them because it's a lower limit as well, so to manage their spending. But for the purpose of the pilot, there's no age limit per se, or no minimum age required.
Right, right. Thanks for that. If a mistake occurs with the transfer of funds, is there any redress?
So, Governor, on the blockchain, you cannot reverse a transaction. So when a transaction goes through, you cannot reverse. However, the receiving party can initiate an opposite transaction. So they can now send back the funds to you, and you can send back what the difference is. So say you were to send $150 to a person, and you transfer it ever $1,500. What that person can do is to return that $1,500 to you, and then you can now do a new transaction. There'll be 3 transactions basically to correct. So you cannot just cancel the transaction, it cannot be canceled. However, an opposite transaction will have to be initiated to correct error.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you for that.
Since all parties are that's the added security, so we know all persons on the network, so you'll understand, you know who you're transacting with at all times. So if you transact with what you don't know, all persons are known on the network.
Okay, thank you, Charmin. Another question from Facebook. Will we get offline notification once a transaction is done? Will we get offline notification once a transaction is done?
Yes, the app would be designed to provide notifications to you upon successful completion of transactions.
Okay, so the answer is yes. Next question, how many devices can the wallet be logged into simultaneously, especially in the case of a merchant? How many devices can the wallet be logged into simultaneously, especially in the case of a merchant?
So basically, it's one wallet. You can only log it on one device. However, for some merchants, we know merchants have various cashiers. So we have what we call a multi-lane functionality. So you have a master account and you have sub accounts for each cashier. So each one is an individual wallet that feeds into a master account. But the idea is that you can only log into the wallet on your device. So it's a single device at any time, a single wallet at any time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Charmin. Right, so I'm just checking to see what devices do merchants use, mobile app or desktop browser or both?
Merchants will be issued with a mobile app. Right now for the pilot, we're just using mobile apps for both participants and merchants.
Okay, so a mobile app. Thank you, Janelle. Let's see, what else do we have? We've answered that. Is there any limit to the amount you can move around with from one country to another in the ECCU? I think we spoke to that, but we could answer it again. Is there any limit to the amount you can move around from one country to another in the ECCU?
The limits will be based on the tier of your wallet that you have. As we noted before, there will be various tiers. So the value base, there would be 2 tiers, your 0 and 1, that is 1,000 and 2,700. So again, the amount that you can transfer would depend on the limits of your wallet.
Right. And just to be clear, that 1,000 or that 2,700 is for the value-based wallet. That's the wallet where you're not using a financial institution. If you choose to use your bank or credit union, the limit is higher because it depends on your profile. Mm-hmm. So if I have, and I want to do a transaction of $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000, and I have those funds available in my credit union account or my bank account, I can do that, just to be clear. And I can do that between countries as well. So the limit depends on what type of wallet you have. The lower limits for the value-based wallet, where you don't need to use a financial institution, $1,000 or $2,700. And then for the registered base wallet, which is with a financial institution like a bank or credit union, the limits obviously are higher because it depends on what you have available in your account and your profile with the institution. Leanne, is that correct?
Very right, Governor.
All right, so the examiner says that that is correct. So we will take that. Very good. Let's see what else we have. A multi-factor authentication token to be used to log into your wallet. Is a multi-factor authentication token to be used to log in to your wallet?
That is currently only available for financial institutions. Participants and merchants would make use of usernames and passwords and biometric authentication if the device permits.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Janelle, for that. Do we have any other questions? The team has worked really well. We've answered quite a few tonight. Do we have any more? We're just checking, so the Q&A box as well as the Facebook. The last segment we looked at Facebook. So here's a question. Would I be able to transact during a power loss, such as a hurricane, if my financial institution, which stores my digital dollars, loses power, but my phone and the other party to receive payment is operable?
Okay, so as I said before, the funds are still on the blockchain, so it's not necessarily at your financial institution. So to the extent that you have power on your phone, you have funds in your wallet, and you have an internet connection, you can continue to transact, even if your financial institution is down. So you just need to have power on your device, power on the receiving end, and data or internet connection to transfer the funds. That's what's
right. Thank you. So the answer is yes, if you have power and you have connectivity. Good. Do we have any more questions? I'm just looking up at the screen to see if we got anything else in. So do we have any more? All right, I think we have some. Are there plans to make the digital currency or digital cash, as we call it, interoperable, with other central bank digital currencies or stablecoin cryptocurrencies or cryptocurrencies generally?
So, Governor, as we have said on a number of occasions, the central bank digital currency is not a cryptocurrency. It's very different from a cryptocurrency, and we want to make that very clear. That this is a legal tender currency, is backed by the central bank, so it's not going to operate with cryptocurrencies. As far as other central banks go, for the purpose of the pilot, that will be not the case now. But however, as more and more central banks are exploring the central bank digital currency and how they can implement it, for future pilots, we'll be able to see that integration. But for our pilot, it will just be for the ECC or the EC dollar.
Right. Thank you, Charmin. So in this first phase, it is just within the EC, but there's a possibility in another phase to take it beyond the ECCU. And as Charmin said, there's considerable interest by others. We've actually had central banks reach out to us to talk to us about that possibility. But we've said not at this stage. First things first, let's make this happen in the ECCU, and then we can look to see what else we can do beyond the ECCU. Let's see, what other pilots is the ECCB considering? Other central banks have more than one pilot going. What other pilots is the ECCB considering? Well, I'm not sure I understand the question. I know we're doing other pilots. For example, we've just completed a pilot with the credit union for physical cash, but that's a separate project. Excuse me. And, you know, we do different things from time to time. And the pilot approach is the way to do innovation. Rather than try to do everything at once, you design, you start small, and you keep building. So we do other pilots in various things. On sites, we piloted, pilot is something we do a lot at the bank, but I'm not sure I understand the question in the context of digital cash. This is the pilot for digital cash at the moment. There's another question there. Are funds stored on the blockchain or on the wallet and registered on the blockchain? Are funds stored on the blockchain or on the wallet and registered on the blockchain?
Right. As we would have mentioned before, the funds are actually stored on the blockchain. The digital wallets are just used to access those funds on the blockchain.
Right. Thank you, Janelle. Next question. How much support will there be for developers who want to integrate the wallet into website applications?
Governor, as we would have indicated before, the whole idea is to post pilots to see how that integration will work. And that will be, and some of that will start during the pilot. But for now, we're focusing on having the pilot completed, lessons learned, and from that, then we'll be able to determine how we can now support other developers as was asked in terms of that integration part. But for now, the initial focus, as we are for the 6-month period, is actually getting the DXCD out there and getting persons to use it. But we do recognize that as a second phase, we will have to look into now that integration process. So we actually have thought about it, and measures will be put in place to support that initiative going forward.
Right. Thank you, Charmin. Do we have any other questions? Is this digital currency similar to QR code payment system like WeChat Pay in China?
So without knowing too much about the WeChat Pay payment method and the payment system, it does make use of QR codes, so it is similar in that regard. But I can't get into the nitty-gritty of any other similarities.
Right. Right. Thank you. Let's take another one. As a high-profile customer with a registered wallet, having access to huge balances, would you have to make any customs declaration while traveling? Who wants to take that one?
I think based on the legislations in the territories right now, it's actual physical cash that you have to declare. So because it's in digital form, it will almost be similar to traveling with your credit card or your debit card. So you won't require to do any sort of declaration of funds for your digital wallet.
Right. Thank you. Thanks for that. So there's a question again, it probably was asked, but we could answer it again. How is the cash transferred into digital cash without the use of a financial institution?
So in terms of that conversion, we can use agents or merchants. And these are the ones that provide cash in, cash out services. So if you have physical cash, you take it into a merchant or you take it to an agent, you give them your physical cash and they will transfer the equivalent from their wallet to your digital wallet. So it's that in those instances, you have to have physical cash to make that transfer,
right?
That conversion.
Right. Thank you for that. Right, we are swiftly coming to the end of this dialogue, but let's see if we have any more questions. I think we have covered pretty much everything that we've seen. So I want to move towards the conclusion. I think we've been able to take quite a few of the questions. In fact, all of the questions that we've had pretty much, or as many of them as have come to us, we've answered. So panelists, you've done a great job tonight in terms of answering the questions. And I'm sure for those who participated, it's been an opportunity for them to learn more and more. And we understand this is a process. So not everything will make sense at once. And we don't mind repeating ourselves. We don't mind answering the questions over and over, just to give you a comfort level. And so tonight, we were able to do more of that. So in this final round, I simply want to ask each panelist for any final comments that they would like to make. And perhaps I can start with you, Leanne. Any final comments?
Well, in closing, I would just like to assure the general public that the ECCB has spared no efforts and no resources, no expenses in ensuring that there are sound governance frameworks in place for AML CFT utilities, data privacy, and data protection in the pilot. So again, I would like to encourage all persons in the 4 pilot countries to come on board and embrace the opportunity to be part of the digital ECCash pilot project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leanne. Janelle, what would you like to say?
I must admit, I have tunnel vision where this pilot is concerned. I'm so eager to see it, our digital pilot and our digital EC dollars take flight, so to speak. So I want to echo similar sentiments to Leanne. I want to encourage as many people as possible to enroll as participants and merchants to ensure that we have a really rich experience as we break new ground. And for those who can't participate, because maybe you don't live in one of our pilot countries, we want to make sure you follow along with us in our pilot activities. Do this using our ECCB Connects Facebook page, our YouTube channel, as well as our ECCB websites.
Right, because ultimately the idea is to roll it out to all 8 member countries. So your turn will come. Right, Charmin? Charmin, you're muted?
Oh, sorry, Governor. Yes, I was muted. I just want to reiterate that this is a watershed period across the globe, and in particular the ECCU region. And this digital easy pilot project is a critical part of the transformative process as we go through these unprecedented times and chart the way forward for the new normal. So I take this opportunity to encourage full participation in the project and be part of this history in the making. We look forward to collaborating with all stakeholders over the next few weeks as we prepare for launch and throughout the pilot as we work together to transform the region. I just want to let the public know that we'll be out there starting this week with our full media blitz with all things digital EC dollars. So they can look out for a very robust public education campaign to make sure that all information is made available to the public and that persons are able to fully understand what is being done so that they can have a good experience for the pilot project. Thanks, Governor.
Thank you, Charmin. And I just want to conclude by saying very quickly that there can be no doubt that digital tools have been a lifeline in this pandemic. We're using these tools even tonight. And for us, as we think about a future for this region, digital transformation is key. We have to digitize our economies, we have to digitize our societies. And digitizing our EC dollar is a very important step in that regard. So I want to say to you, let us continue to explore and let us continue to work together for this region. We have a very important opportunity now as a region to come together for our survival. And like I have been saying, our survival must be the driver of innovation. Our survival must be the driver of innovation. And so, if anything, this pandemic compels us to move even faster with digital transformation. So I look forward to continuing to engage with you, all of you, on this important project, and in fact, on other digital transformation initiatives, which you will hear about in the weeks and months ahead. All that's left for me to do is to thank all of our panelists for their very expert responses tonight. I'm grateful to all of you for being here and for being able to be so responsive to the questions that were raised. I do want to thank all of our viewers, participants via Zoom and Facebook who joined, who stayed, who participated in our poll, and who also posed questions. Thank you for that. And I want to thank my colleagues who are behind the scenes, Dr. Emma Fasurdo, who coordinates the dialogue in the governor's office, all of our colleagues in MISD and CRD. So I can think of Marlon, Bristol, and Crawford, Alston Crawford, and I can think of Janelle Brathwaite and Marlon Davis, Of course, there are others behind the scenes as well, but Lyndon Jacosel, who helped us with the poll, Kichiwa Charles, who helped us with some of the questions, and I'm sure there are other colleagues who I missed. Monique Frank, who was monitoring as well, to ensure that you had a good experience. It's been a team effort. And colleagues, if I missed anyone, I thank you as well. So on behalf of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, until next time, and next time will be next week, July 7th, when we will have Pandemic and Digital Currency Part 3. And this one will be at 10. So we're going to go back to the morning. So we've done an afternoon, we've done a night, we've done a morning. We're making sure that we are available at any time of day and night. We're public servants, we work for you, we're available to you. So on July 7th, we'll continue this series with Pandemic and Digital Currency Part 3. If you have persons who are interested who were not able to join tonight, encourage them to join us and put their questions to us on the next occasion. Thank you. God bless you. Good night.